I'm Songhee and today we're going to be covering what functions are and how to solve system of equations. A function is a relation with only one output for each input. So an input can be the domain, a x value, and or will be independent. Output can be the range, a y value, and will be dependent. Using this information, we can look at the x value to see if it is repeated within the output or y values. If there are multiple y values for an x value, it is not a function. Another way to see this is through using cars as an analogy. Let's say the input is a BMW, a car brand, but there aren't just a single color of a BMW car. There are multiple colors of a BMW. For this reason, although there is a single input, there are the outputs of a white car, a silver car, a gray car, and a black car too. This makes it not a function. What if we do this with numbers now? In this example, we have the inputs 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then the outputs 5, 6, 7, and 8. The difference between these and the previous examples was that now a single input didn't have multiple outputs. Input 1 has an output of 6, 2 and 5, 3 and 7, and 5 and 8. As the rule of functions said before, one output for each input, making this a function. Now let's evaluate this function for the given value, and we can make sure to show our work. H of n equals n to the third plus 3n squared. Find a g of negative 5. H of negative 5 equals negative 5 to the third plus 3 times negative 5 to the second, because we plugged in negative 5 for the value of n. And simplifying would get us to negative 50. However, this is really only the basic concept, and that through the future lessons, we can also deepen our understandings of different problems and concepts. Next though, we are going to be solving system of equations. A system of equation is a set of two or more equations containing two or more variables. There are different types of system of equations. A consistent, independent, and inconsistent. And the first one, consistent, there is dependent and independent. Independent, overlapping lines, and they have the same slope and y-intercept and have many solutions. However, independent has intersecting lines, different slope, and can have the same or different y-intercept and has only one solution. What about inconsistent? Inconsistent has parallel lines, the same slope and different y-intercepts, and no solution. We also need to remember that if there are no variables left, a number can not equal to the same number. So 6 is not equal to 5 means there is no solutions. However, if the same number is equal to the same number, it means there are many solutions. So 6 equals 6 means many solutions. You can also solve a system of equations through substitution. This means we need to isolate the variable. Here is an example. Y minus 3x equals 5, and 2x equals 3y plus 6. We need to isolate y so that we can sub y equals 3x plus 5 from the first equation into the second equation. So it will be 2x equals 3 times 3x plus 5 plus 6, which would be 2x minus 9x equals to 9x plus 15 plus 6. Add like terms to get 2x equals 9x plus 21. Then we can isolate x So it would be negative x equals 21, and then finally dividing to get x equals negative 3. However, we only know the value of x right now. We still need to find the value of y. We can plug in the value of x into either the first or second or the equation we used to find x. Here we used y equals 3x plus 5, which was the equation we used earlier for x. So now it is y equals 3 and plugging in at negative. You can also solve through elimination, which just means we need to create opposites. This may sound confusing, so let's see this through an example problem. 2x plus 4y equals negative 10, and 3x plus 3y equals negative 3. The first part of solving this problem is finding a way to get at least one variable to be opposite of each other, so we can cancel them to get the other variable. Here we multiplied the first equation by negative 3 to get negative 6x minus 12y equals 30. Then we also multiplied the second equation by 2 to get 6x plus 6y equals negative 6. We can see that negative 6 and 6x are opposite to each other because they cancel each other, equaling to 0. So then we need to add the two equations together. Here, the resulting number is y equals negative 4 after simplifying. We now need to find the y value. Just like we did with the second step of substitution, we can substitute it into the first or second equation. I use the first equation, 2x plus 4y equals negative 10. Substitute it in negative 4 for y and getting x equals 3. The final solution being 3, negative 4. Systems of equations are actually a lot simpler than you may think. This is all for today's lesson. Hope you guys learned something useful or helpful, and see you next video. Thanks.